G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new patch for the brand new expansion to witness a brand new civilization take on Old Faithful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. In the north of the map, playing in the color blue as the English, aka Old Faithful, it's Divine DFP. And on the south side of the map in the color pink, playing as the Order of the Dragon, aka the Order, it's Soldier. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. We're here on Gorge with the absolutely gorgeous Japanese spring biome. I love this, one of my favorites. In fact, my favorite. It is up there with Sahara. Is it Sahara or Savannah? Anyway, if you're enjoying this casted content, make sure you leave a like on the video. It really helps out with the traction of the channel. And have a look at this. We are getting an absolute early jackpot over here for Soldier. He is having a great time. Now, both of these players, both of these guys, these fellas over here, are both creators over on Twitch, both streamers. So I want you to go check them out if you haven't already. I'll leave links in the description where you can watch them live over there. And I just want you to know that they are both incredibly good players, both Conqueror 3++ players, which means they are at least 1800 rating on the ladder, which means I don't expect to see any macro mistakes coming out from them at all. Maybe a few, maybe a couple. We'll have to call the macro police just to get verification, but boy, oh boy, don't these Japanese trees look absolutely beautiful, man. I tell you what, I love. What happened to your base, Divine? Why don't you get the good-looking trees? You're just stuck with the Old Faithful. I guess that's just how it goes, right? Some people, they get to move on to the new updated trees. Well, anyway, let's ride on board with Soldier for a bit. He's playing the Order of the Dragon, which we're going to just be calling the Order throughout this game. He's managed to capture 7 sheep, which ain't too bad. He's done a nice little loop, ignored the middle of the map, which typically, sometimes there can be sheep over here, but we don't see any there for now. Have a look at that. That's a nice little spot to throw an outpost down on. Maybe a mangonel or two, a trebuchet, if you will. But going to be playing the Order here. The civilization considered by many to be undertuned. Threeville's going to be moving out. Is it going to be a mine work? Is it going to be an Archon? It's going to be a mine work. All right, give us a little bit of lovin' early on. I've got a feeling. Do we see potential feudal ages today? We may. I'm getting a little bit excited. I'm getting ahead of myself. I tell you what, when I say feudal ages, I'm talking about the fighting. Now, you guys know, we've watched many Divine DFP games, and one of the common themes that Divine goes for is town centers. Fast Imperials and town centers. So is this going to be the game where he decides to stop doing it? Of course, we've watched about 4 or 5 Divine games in the last couple of days, and every single one he's gone Fast Imperial. And he's just been able to do it with impunity, of course, with the English every single time. But have a look at this. We've got something a little bit special coming out today. It is going to be the Abbey of Kings coming out for Divine. Now, this landmark, a little bit of a meme, a little bit of a dream, but some people do actually think it might have something to it. And I think in this matchup, you're 100% right. If you are able to keep those knights alive, once you hit Castle Age and bring them back to the Abbey of Kings, technically. There's multiple kings, even though there's only the one. It's the Abbey of Kings. Then you're going to have yourself a good time. You're going to be able to heal up and get those high health units back into range of the Abbey and then eventually get back out there with full health. That's the goal, right? Because at the end of the day, this landmark, it does really spike in the Castle Age with the addition of knights, but in the Feudal Age, it offers you very limited utility in the form of a king. Now, remember, that bad boy used to cost 150 gold, 150 food back in the day. Not anymore. They've reduced his price. I think it's 110 food, 110 gold. Let's have a look and see. Could even be 100 of each. It's 100 of each. Clicks the king immediately. Beautiful macro. Absolutely on point. I'm not calling any macro police today. On the other side of the map, the mine work comes in for Soldier. Barracks is up immediately, and it's a men-at-arms in queue. More beautiful macro. And what do you see here? We see an interesting dynamic already. Because Soldier said to himself, I'm going to make it men-at-arms, and I'm absolutely going to kill these longbows. And you know what Divine said? Divine said, I know what you're going to do, and it's not happening, Soldier. I am going to stop it before it even starts. And that's where Divine is already ahead of the curve. +1 ranged armor coming through. Ranged armor, what are you going to do with ranged armor, Soldier? Against a king? A king on his trusty steed? Look at this bad boy right here. 220 health, 16 melee damage, ready to get the charge rolling. You can see him heading down towards that bottom side. It looks like we might have ourselves a little bit of a drive-by here. Divine heading around the backside, looking for a rally point onto the gold, cognizant of a potential fast castle. Wants to prevent that from happening, and I do like this. Where does he go from here, though? Does he think about a second town center? Does he think about going Castle Age himself, or does he think about a farm transition? That's a lot of vills. It's going to be a second town center. It looks like we're going to have it. Scout comes in. Divine spots it. Coming down from the hill. The scout just going to trigger off that attack alarm. No, he's going to get in and get a nice little block. 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks. Should get the kill on this villager. No, it won't, because it's an Order of the Dragon villager. He backs out of there. He says, I don't want to get my Angus peppered that hard, my friend. You can tell me right now, and I will just leave. And that's exactly what he does. But keep in mind, he is the king, and he heals nearby out of combat units for 2 every second, including himself. He does have that kingly presence. But you want to know what else is present? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Men-at-Arms, which has decided to make a presence over on the other side of the map. Now, one thing to note, the Men-at-Arms doesn't do particularly well against the enemy king. However, it does... you want to know what does do well against the enemy king? Spearmen. And they're in queue at the moment. Oh my lord, that Men-at-Arms absolutely chopped that villager. Jeez Louise, look at the damage that's coming out. They've got 4 ranged armor. Actually pretty decent against the English TC. Only 6 damage coming out from those extra shots. It does 8 damage off the main one. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is pretty... it doesn't really feel that effective. Like, sure, you've come under the TC. Yeah, you caused a bit of idle time. Shotgun just absolutely dished out the damage right there. But the longbows are out now. And I feel like it's only a matter of time until... Divine's done pretty decent in dealing with this threat. No villagers lost. Men-at-Arms being chased around. Or rather, the villagers being chased around by the Men-at-Arms. And now the Gilded Spearman is out. But remember, there's longbows on the map here. So a bit of an interesting opening coming out already here from Soldier. And I don't really know how he goes about playing into this. Because the reality is, you've got your Men-at-Arms, which do well. Oh, have a look at this. We've got Golden Cuirass already coming through. I guess he could technically just fight against the king, but the problem is the king's just going to heal up, right? Like, anytime he gets the king low, he just runs away. And then he comes back at full health, because he goes back, lives his best life under the Abbey of Kings, and he's like, oh, you know what? I'm a king. I'm just going to leave. And then he leaves. And he comes back at full health. It's just like Joan of Arc, except there's a couple more steps involved. That's pretty much the difference here. But the other thing to note is longbows exist, and that you can have Gilded Spearmen out, and you can stab that king. But once again, the longbows are just going to tee off on them. And if you do somehow manage to get yourself a little bit of a king shish kebab, well, at the end of the day, he's just going to come back running at you with full health. Because, once again, he's just going to go back to the Abbey. So, perhaps, the right call for Soldier might be thinking about going towards the Castle Age. We do see him adding in this outpost down on the Gold Vein, which is always an indication that, hey, I'm thinking about going Castle. But we do see a stable also coming out, which could be a staple of his feudal age. But have a look at this. The king making mogul moves. He's got his scout with him as well. Soldier's got no idea where his opponent is, but does sense there is something amiss. Amiss? I don't know. Something awry. Let's go with that. A little bit different. Only the 2 longbows out, but you can see it's enough to poke and prod towards this position. With the horseman coming out, though, that is going to be the absolute cherry on top for Soldier in this early feudal age. He's done a really good job of recognizing what he needs to do to pull out all the stops here. But have a look on the other side of the map. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves a little bit of stone in the bank. 8 stone? Was that literally all he did? I thought he was going for a second TC behind this. But it turns out he just used all the wood to transition into farms, which is a bit of a head scratcher. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice, it's good. Has he gone eco upgrades? No eco upgrades? No double broadaxe? I don't know how I feel about this. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not calling the macro police, but I don't like it. Anyway, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. We'll check in with Soldier. We'll see how he's doing, as he doesn't actually look like he's heading to Castle Age. A couple of idle villagers underneath the town center, still struggling on that front as he comes out to bury his villager on the outpost. Will probably go down. A couple longbows back in the base as well. Villager still staying alive right now. Sing it. Sing the Bee Gees. Sing the Bee Gees. Ah, you didn't sing the Bee Gees, and as a result, you went down. I hate to see it. You hate to see it. There's nothing worse than, you know, having the Bee Gees in your head and then singing Kesha. It feels bad. It feels bad. That's a Timber reference for anyone who didn't get it. Kesha, she had a song called Timber. She says, like, it's going down. I'm yelling timber. Anyway, the villager went down. That's the joke. Sorry. All right, plenty of vills here on gold. This is going to be a Castle Age. No 2 questions about it. The question for me, though, is going to be which landmark he opts for. Now, Divine, notorious for going the White Tower. We've seen him do it time and time again. This could definitely be a game where he looks for it, but is it really worth it in this situation to go to White Tower? I feel like King's Palace probably makes some sense here, since you haven't added in that second TC, but realistically, if you go for the White Tower and your enemy just goes to Imperial anyway, are you going to be getting a huge amount of value from it, considering they're going to have Elsbach online? Maybe, maybe not. That's a discussion we'll have to have in another video because that's probably a long one. You know what? I got time. It's probably worth it. I reckon King's Palace is the play here. King's Palace, but just make sure you're gathering with a lot of wood in the transition, and then just go. I think you just can probably transition into spear crossbow, right? Spear crossbow works relatively well in this matchup. I guess you do have to watch out for Lance Connect. That's going to be your main threat. Spear crossbow will obviously struggle against Lance Connect, especially if there's lots of them out, because you're going to have to try and kite them out with men at arm or with crossbows, and the crossbows don't do a whole lot of damage against them. So that's something to keep in mind. But now both players looking to get big upgrades in. Soldier still idled out on that gold for the moment, doing a really decent job on the backside. Divine with the king. Of course, we'll be looking towards those castle age timings here as both players just kind of chilling out, both respecting each other too much to really commit to a fight. And there's been plenty of outposts on the side of Soldier. I'm curious to see whether he goes into Burgrave or whether he steps it up and says, I'm gonna make it a Regnitz. I think it's probably a Burgrave though. It feels like a Burgrave kind of game. Just the delay in the aging, right? Like if he was sitting on 1,200 food right now and 500 gold, I'd be like, okay, this is a Burgrave. Or rather, this is a Regnitz that's coming out. But it just doesn't feel like that. It feels like he's quite behind. And I think that this is just the whole, or the Order of the Dragon, right? Like they just feel really undertuned. It feels like they're not where they should be. And you can see at the moment, villager difference is 7. Now granted, Divine's taken out 1 worker this game, so it should only be well, it's an 8 difference now, but it should only be a 7 difference. But it feels so much more than that, man. It's really sad. I'm hoping one day we see this civilization competitive, because it just doesn't feel like it is right now. But perhaps Soldier looks to try and find a way to make it competitive. Triple Horseman coming out will actually be doing some work here. The Scout also joining the action. Men-at-Arms, look at the Gilded Archer on the back of those. Soldier, how you doing here? Beautiful timing as well, by the way. Divine did make that absolute mistake. I'm not going to call the macro police, but I will call the police on him. This is a huge mistake for him. Pushing when you're aging or about to age. It is a massive mistake, and we see English players doing this all the time. What is it with you English players and pushing while you're about to age up or aging? White Tower does get thrown down. I think he realizes I've lost all my bloody units. I've got to throw down the White Tower. He could have just waited for Castle, rushed up the veterancy, rushed up his +2 ranged attack, and he would have been fine. But he didn't do it. You hate to see it. Divine now throwing away the prospect of a second TC for a White Tower, but at the end of the day, the White Tower could be what keeps him alive. Have a look at this. He's in a bit of a rush. 38 villagers building the White Tower. He's got 42 villagers. Literally 90+% of villagers were on this landmark. Literally more than 90% of villagers were building this landmark. He needed this landmark up. And, well, good news. If you're a Divine DFE fan, he got it up. Great to see from him. Now, the king, once again, back out. He's shadow teched up to Castle Age. He says, I'm a little bit stronger, a little bit longer, and definitely a little bit wiser. Plenty more health in the bank as well. At the same time, Soldier, though, he's looking towards that Castle Age. It is going to be a Burgrave. No real surprise there from me. It definitely feels like a Burgrave kind of game. You know, we've said that before, but normally I like to see Burgrave off a 2 TC. Soldier's just kind of stuck it out on the 1 TC, playing it safe. But by the same token, I mean, he's still doing work here. Where does he go from Burgrave, though? So you go into Burgrave. You're still going to look to pick up relics. You have to drop your own monastery down, though, which is the sucky thing about the Order of the Dragon. Meanwhile, Divine. Let's check in with him and see how he's doing. Now, another thing I will say. Now, I guess, realistically, if you guys do see this, then I'll be fine. But I was doing a little bit of laundry before. Just pulling my boy's laundry, chucking it into the dryer. And it's late at night, right? It's 11:30, and our laundry door, it's made of glass. Got a backyard. I saw a flash come through, and my immediate thought was, did somebody just take a photo of me? Because it's like nighttime, and it was just a bright flash. Like, what the hell? And I'm looking out there trying to find the perpetrator, and then I hear the thunder roll in. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. You know, I don't have a stalker. It's okay. Anyway, my point is, If I lose connection, if this video never sees the light of day, well, it'll be because of the lightning. But I guess if you guys are seeing this, then it probably did make the light of day. Anyway, I just have flashbacks to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to play Total Annihilation with my dad, and we used to play to like 5 a.m. in the morning until the sun rose, all right? And that's a good experience to have with your dad when you're 12 years old, right? Like that, if there's anything in life, have a look at this, by the way, look at the Men-at-Arms. You know, I love my dad to pieces, but I gotta say, one thing I won't be doing with my son when I'm like, you know, 10, 12 years old is playing until 5 a.m. with him. That was crazy. I mean, to be fair, that was like the holidays, right? But anyway, one of the things that would happen is we'd regularly get thunderstorms in, and you know, they would roll in, and I guess the lightning would just strike transformers somewhere, and we'd just lose power. I felt like this was like a weekly occurrence, it felt like. But anyway, it could happen tonight. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get to see the end of this game. If not, I'm probably not going to bother coming back and casting it again or editing it together. That would be funny, actually, an edited video where I come back and it's like the morning voice stronger. It's like, oh, hey, guys. So it turns out, yeah, I did get disconnected, but we're back. We're back. I should totally do that. But no, we're not going to do it. Prelate's out here, though. The first of the relics now picked up. Let's check in with Divine. See how he's doing. The monastery's down for him. You can see he's got the double route already in here. No religious units on the map just yet. Still putting on pressure with the king on the south side of the map. Look at this, hovering around the relic. Knows that his opponent wants to pick it up, wants to play to it, but still that top side of the map is undiscovered for him. How many relics are behind this? One relic. That's just it. Just the one relic. So he's seen 4 out of the 5 relics for the moment. Have a look at this. Horseman up towards the top saying, no, sorry, Bob. You are not going to be getting any walls down over here. More scouts coming out, joining the party. Second town center finally thrown down by Divine, and I'm gonna say right now, I like this. This makes sense, Divine. I will accept this. You know, we were talking about, you know, the fact that you had to make the White Tower because you couldn't make the King's Palace because you lost all your army. Well, you've brought a little bit back for me. I'm satisfied with this. You've thrown a second town center down in lieu of that King's Palace, and I will accept this this sacrifice, this donation to the Drong gods. Soldier though. Now picking up that second relic. His opponent only on the one relic for the moment. Keep in mind, he did not go for the Regnitz Cathedral. He's only gone for the Burgrave, which means these relics are not as powerful as your standard relics, or rather as your Regnitz relics. They are just standard. Spots a couple units down to the south side. Soldier, I'm going to ask you once and once only. Your enemy has been poking and prodding all game. Please put down some walls. And he listens. He listens before I even finish my sentence. Soldier, you know, there's something that just makes me think, maybe we're made for each other. That's impressive. That's impressive. When you're finishing my sentences like that, Soldier, that's beautiful. Night now. Copping a little bit of damage, but don't worry about it. This is not a big problem. You guys know why this isn't a big problem. He's got the King's Palace, the Abbey of Kings back here. Sorry. Too many kings, too many palaces, not enough abbeys, except for the Trinity. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the oh, never mind right there. King copping a lot of damage. Knight gonna go down. Crossbows joining the party though. Keep in mind there could be horsemen coming out. When you go this many crossbow, it's like, okay, I'm doing one of two things. I'm making a mangonel or I'm making horsemen. It's one of those two. And I'd be more likely to go for horsemen here than I would a mangonel. I think that's probably the right choice. But can we just talk about Soldier's army composition right now? I'll just go through the Order of the Dragon units with you guys, okay? So, the Order of the Dragon get access to the Spearmen in the Dark Age, and then in the Feudal Age, they get the Men-at-Arms, and then in the Castle Age, they get access to the Landsknecht. But for their archers, they get access to the Gilded Archer in the Feudal Age, and in the Castle Age, they get access to the Gilded Crossbowman. And this civilization also has access to the stable, where you've got a large roster of units, including the Scout in the Feudal Age. You've also got access to the Gilded Horseman in the Feudal Age. There is one unit missing, though, from this unit composition of literally every unit, and it's the Gilded Knight. And I feel like that's the one elephant in the room. Like, it is the big boy. It is the reason you're playing this civilization. It is that. But perhaps that's why he hasn't made it. Now pushing out the crossbowmen, teeing off towards the Gilded Infantry. We zoom in a little bit. The Landsknechts have got their beautiful little helmets out there. If they make a connection, you could have yourself more than just a Craigslist advertisement. This could be absolute brutality. But he manages to clean up the majority of them. We've seen 2 of them go down. The third one still on pretty low health. Gilded Archers getting absolutely decimated. And the crossbowmen demonstrating why they are considered by many to be the premium unit when it comes to Age of Empires 4. This unit, people still scratch their head and wonder, how the hell are we going to beat this unit? Not me, though. Not me. I know the answer. It's mangonels. Mangonels. You guys are waiting for it? There you go. That's the answer. Have we got it? Is there a Siege Workshop coming back here? Doesn't look like it. Just not yet. One of my favorites. Is he only getting an arm upgraded right now? I feel like you've been Castle Age for a while, Soldier. You probably could have gotten it earlier. I'll forgive it, though. We've got 2K. 2.8k coming out for Soldier, compared to his opponent who sits on about the same, a little bit higher, maybe 3.2, somewhere around that region. So pretty even economy at the moment, considering Divine does have a 25 villager lead, or 23 villager lead, I apologize, at this stage of the game. But obviously, there's a caveat to that. That is that the Order of the Dragon villagers are a little bit stronger, even though probably, like, they're probably exactly the same. I'm going to be honest. This civilization is so undertuned. I reckon that's like, that 52 is probably like a 56. 56.3. You know, we've got to round it to the correct decimal because it matters for this civilization. But now, once again, being chased away by these knights. We'll find a good connection here. Have a look at this. The spears. Never mind. It's just going to be the king getting evaporated here by the spears together with the land snakes. And now, Soldier in a decent spot, able to take out that... Oh, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it. You can't... This guy... He can't go a single game without clicking the Imperial button before 20 minutes. I mean, he's done it this game, but we're still technically 20 minutes into the game. So I'm going to call... is this a fast Imperial? Probably not. Is this a faster than normal Imperial? Definitely. Divine, what are you doing? Are we going to see it? Now, to be honest, this is probably a good time not to go the Berkshire. This is probably a good time to go for the other landmark. Oh, did he cancel? He did cancel. Where did he put it? It's up on the gold. Okay. I don't like it. Is that twice that I've said I don't like it to his landmarks? Oh no, it was to his farm transition first. Let me explain why I don't like it. Berkshire Palace. It's a great landmark, right? But you want this up in the opponent's face, man. You want this to be causing, you know, you want the opponent to come out with post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, oh, I saw so many Berkshire bullets. I couldn't, you know, just a 10,000 yard stare from Berkshire. Imperial Age comes through. Expect to see elite upgrades coming through shortly, but Willie, he's done it twice in the same bloody game. He's pushed when he was aging up. Men-at-Arms, crossbowmen taken off guard by this melee force. Gilded Archers on the back together with the crossbows. Look at the range on them. 6 tiles of range here, almost outranging the longbows. But he's eaten it alive completely, and Divine DFP is absolutely outclassed once again in this game. He can't keep getting away with this. How is he possibly still in this game when he's broken so many golden rules of Age of Empires 4? Like, golden rule of Age of Empires 4, number 1. Hold it. The golden rule of Age of Empires 4, the first golden rule of Age of Empires 4 is number 1, we never stop making villages, okay? Number 2 is you never push while you're aging up because you need to wait for your upgrades to come through. Divine just breaks that rule. Divine, stop doing it, man. You're meant to be a Conqueror 3++ player. Anyway, the numbers are looking pretty good at the moment for Soldier. He's got a huge advantage. Mangonel is out. 91 military pop versus 30. More than double the army value, even though we can't really trust that. Where is his army? I mean... He's got like 7 units out here. That's probably the 91 military pop. You guys know how this civilization's balanced. Poor civilization. Poor Order of the Dragon enjoyers out there. I know there's so many of you guys, and you're just weeping most days of the week, but not today. Oh, look who it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the final piece of the puzzle. It's the Gilded Knight. He's joined us for a little bit of action in the Castle Age. Prelate's here as well. We got everybody. I think that's it. The whole kit and caboodle. Let me just double check. I'm going to mark roll call. All right. Gilded Spearman? Yes, here. Gilded Men-at-Arms? Yes. Gilded Lanchconnect? Yep. Gilded Archer? Yep. Gilded Crossbow? Yep. Gilded Horseman? Yep. 6 of them. Gilded Knight? Yes, we've got them. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We've hit it. We've got every single unit on the roster at this stage of the game. Soldier has done it. He has combined everything, and now he will transform into the final Giga Chad. This is the Bigger Chad. It is bigger than the Giga Chad. It is stronger than the Giga Chad. But most importantly, it's slightly nicer than the Giga Chad, because at the end of the day, that's what's important. It's about being kind. Farming economy. Have a look at this. Damn Louise. He is... Did you like that? That was a combination of Geez Louise and Damn at the same time. You got Damn Louise. Damn Louise. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Zornhau on the way. Could be potentially looking for a little bit of Lunch Connect action. We got 9 of them out. Good luck picking off 9 Lunch Connects in a battle with crossbows, by the way. Let's see how he does it. Armor upgrades all the way through. He's got +2 on everything compared to his opponent, who's still finding them. Hand Cannoneers coming through for Divine, but now looking to push forward. Men-at-Arms on the front line. He's fallen back away. He wants to fight into the Springwood emplacements. Of course, they get that nice little bonus damage. And now coming forward, it looks like he's got the Mangonel on the backside, but it's only going to get 1 shot off if it's lucky. It gets evaporated into thin air. And now all of a sudden, the Giga Chads slowly make way closing in on their opponents. Where are the Lynch connects? There they are. Zornhau swing to win, baby. Oh, it's looking absolutely beautiful for the Order of the Dragon. Continuing to push forward. The Gilded Archers over the top of everything. Need to snipe out these hand cannoneers, but they have cleaned up completely. And it is an absolute decimation, an absolute destruction right there for Soldier. Beautiful job maintaining that military lead now. 3-1 military advantage up against his opponent. It's going to be hand cannoneers and men-at-arms coming out for Divine. So the key here is horsemen. It needs to be horsemen coming in for Soldier at this stage. And we see he's got one online at the moment. A couple of crossbows coming through as well. And keep in mind, this wall is up. Thank you very much, Soldier. I'm so glad you put this wall down. It just stops that pesky little king and his friend from coming in and visiting your villagers when you're on holiday at the front of the base. And that's a nice feeling. Well, it's not a nice feeling when it happens, but it's a nice feeling when you stop it. Burgrave still sitting idle. He might be thinking about going Imperial. King has gone down on the south side. We hear that lovely sound. That is one of the best sounds that you will ever hear when you're playing against Joan of Arc. And now he has revealed his hand, and he sees this because we saw the crossbow change angles, so he should know what he's up against, right? Men-at-arms and hand cannoneers. It's a pretty simple combination, right? It's a good combo, don't get me wrong, but the reality is, oh, he's rallying in units. So ideally, what are we looking for here? We're just looking for Gilded Horsemen. This is the problem with the Order of the Dragon, right? Like, you're going to make Gilded Horsemen. Okay, let's just think about it, hypothetically. Hypothetically, that's my bet, Shapiro. Let's say you've got Gilded Horsemen versus normal Horsemen. 310 health versus 155 health, okay? And you got 2 units. The problem is this. It's really easy to select all my hand cannoneers and right-click a single Horseman or a single Gilded Knight, and boom, you're dead. And the problem is, because that's worth 2 units, it's actually much more valuable for me to be able to do that rather than it is for you to have that. And so what that means is when you go for hand cannoneers like this, they're particularly effective against this civilization. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all from a design aspect. I feel like the power of the Zerg is much stronger than the power of the Protoss, which is what you kind of have here in the Order of the Dragon. It's really strong units and not a lot of them. I mean, with the exception of, say, Zealots. But even then, they were 2 population, weren't they? Compared to the Marine, which was 1 population. The Zergling, which was half a population. It was definitely that case. But now, the Protoss of Age of Empires 4 is on the defensive, despite having twice the military numbers of his opponent. You know what I'd love to see? A strike from the top of the hill down around the back. I wonder if he could potentially go for that. King now looking to come through. Looking to come down onto this bottom side, do a little bit of a flankaroonie. Is he distracting his opponent now? Divine's heading towards that 200 pop. This is a dangerous time right now. But Soldier looking for more upgrades. He's going to be going into that dragon scale armor. I think it's called dragon scale leather. I was so close. So close. And now picking off a couple of the rams at the front. The hand cannoneers are looking. They're looming. They're not going to make any connections as the 4 battering rams come on through. Remember, these outposts do have relics inside. You want to make sure that they try and survive. King behind the scenes, remember, don't forget. And now, onwards towards our opponent, the men-at-arms, going to be fighting on the front line. Where are the horsemen? I don't see them. He's got a couple of them out here. They need to be on this back line. The hand cannoneers absolutely driving it home. Keep in mind, he was twice the military population at the start of this fight. Emergency repairs come through. Mangonel could be the key to victory here. The men-at-arms are on top of it, though. If the Mangonel goes down, so does his chance at taking out the hand cannoneers. The hand cannoneers have not been dealt with. You start to see the power of the English now. Keep in mind, they've got that attack speed bonus that continues to propagate towards the front. The Gilded Archers doing a very good job of taking care of it, but the reality is there's just not enough of them. And now completely overwhelmed by the hand cannoneers, the men-at-arms begin to make their way forward with their golden helmets. The elite upgrades are through. He's got elite army tactics online, and the battering rams are making their way towards the farmland. Villagers going to get pulled. He's going to look to try and take them out. Will be successful. I think we've got a king behind the scenes as well. And those hand cannoneers still stand strong in this game, unable to be dealt with. But as long as those Gilded crossbowmen are still here, we're going to be A-okay. Where is that king at? I know he's somewhere. No, it's men-at-arms. I apologize. Elite army tactics not through just yet. Zornhau, Gilded Lance Connect, is going to clean this up, but have a look at that military population. 58 versus 40. He's fighting with double the population, and yet it feels like he's fighting with the same amount of units. Now, is that just because the civilization sucks? Or is that because hand cannoneers are good? Particularly good against this civilization. Perhaps you could argue it's one of their biggest weaknesses, apart from just having a very poor economy and very poor scaling. it would just be that they are a naturally weak against hand cannoneers because they have big units, right? You've got big, bulky, heavy units that have got lots of hit points. So naturally, units that have got high damage are going to do very well against them. And we can already see Springhoods coming out. Don't tell me he's got roller shutter triggers. He's got roller shutter triggers. It's not looking good right now for Soldier. He's in the castle age. He's stuck without a response to this. Of course, he'd have Culverin if he did age up to Imperial age, but he hasn't been able to find a window. And this is just simply because the civilization is undertuned, or at least it feels that way. So whether we see a Giga Chad, a bigger Chad update, oh, jeez Louise, that was a quick death right there. You were on like 90% health right there, Mr. King. It's all right. He'll be back. And indeed, he's on the way back soon. But it definitely feels like... maybe Soldier could have gone 2TC a little bit earlier. Horsemen do come in, but you can see just how quickly they get blown to pieces by the hand cannoneers. It's not even bloody close. More of them coming through. A couple of Mangonels do manage to tee off, but the Springhoods on the backside going to come through. Emergency repair's not even going to be enough as the outpost goes down. Crossbows getting eaten alive just seconds away from death. Have a look at the amount of men-at-arms that are here, overwhelming them completely. Still no elite army tactics. It's coming through now. It's going to take 90 seconds to arrive, and the hand cannoneers, together with the men-at-arms, are going to make short work of the remaining gilded crossbows, and now that military has swung in favor of Divine. And to me, I mean, that's a bit of a head-scratcher, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, well... he's playing the Order of the Dragon. What did you expect? It's like starting off the game and just deleting 6 of your villages and being like, well, I start with 150 food. I can make 3 villages. We're fine, right, guys? Well, not really. Ladies and gentlemen, go check them out. Make sure you go say g'day for me. I'll leave links in the description of where you can watch Soldier as well as Divine live over on Twitch. They're probably streaming right now, so go say g'day, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.